Welcome to Cameron House Marina. I'm Ruben from Marine Sales Scotland. This is our brand new Beneteau Antares 8 Admiral Edition, powered by a Mercury 200 horsepower V6 outboard engine. Proudly sized in the middle of the Antares model range, she's been customised with a sleek exterior graphics package that works in conjunction with our black and chrome outboard motor, merging the design of both outboard and hull all into one. Versatile and innovative, she has the capacity to carry 9 passengers offshore with official overnight quarters for 5 that can be extended at a push to 7 people. The Beneteau Antares 8 model range is built with a flared hull, so that means that you have splash and spray deflected down the way back into the sea rather than coming up over the cockpit when you encounter rougher offshore conditions. With the flared hull, it also then gives us a greater surface area up here on the deck. It allows for this big walk round that we have to both port and starboard, although the cockpit is slightly offset to the left hand side to allow for a bigger walk round on this section. The flared hull then as well gives it better stability in the sea, and with this is the cruising version. You have Antares 8 cruising, you also have Antares 8 fishing. The cruising has a more elegant profile, it has sleeker lines than the fishing model. Those lines are then enhanced by the graphics package that we have put on the boat with the black and the chrome details. They tie in very well with the Mercury 200 horsepower engine on the back, up to 5 years warranty with that power unit. Shore power connectivity at the back. You have 230 volt in here, battery charger, and also an onboard water heater in the form of a calorifier. Swim platforms on both port and starboard, and then a full cockpit canvas in here. If we are berthing starboard side too, we have this opening side panel here, the opening door. Makes it very simple to just walk straight out onto the pontoons if it's a little bit trickier to get our berth stern too. Then if you don't like that and you want to close this across, it's so simple, pull it round and it fits and locks into place. Modular cockpit design within that uses the space very efficiently for what you have here on an 8-metre platform. Transom shower just there, wet storage in here. You can see there's a little drain down at the bottom. So the modular cockpit, we can take the table out, we can also take this section off, and we can fold that U-shaped bench, or the bit that fills in to make this U-shape, we can fold that away and take the backrest off. The table is set right now in the bifolding position. You have built in a grab rail, 2 cup holders as well. If you're sat and you are dining out here, table folds over. Everyone on the back bench at least has somewhere to lean on, especially if you're sat there as well, you can lean on this too. Cup holders moulded in on that side, one again on this side. Look at the storage as well. They've used that hollow, the fiberglass hollow there of the door, to put some more storage in. And then fishing rod holders exactly at the back. You can shift the entire back bench of the Antares 8 forward if you want to beach the boat. There's a bow ladder up on the front where you can then just climb off the bow nice and simply, and that also means you can trim the engine all the way up should you want to do that. We can then put in filler cushions in here, turns this into a daybed. I've had customers before tell me that they have used this for an overnight, especially in the summertime. You can feel you get the greenhouse effect in here with all the perspex, all the canopies down. It does give you an extra addition for probably 2 people. You have 2 people there and then another 2 up at the front, and you can also get an additional person underneath. I'll show you that later on. We'll get this back up. And with that back up, we've taken the backrest off, and you can see how simple it is. Just tuck that into place and that's it, out of the way. You then have storage in that locker there, also this side, either side of the integral 340 litre fuel tank just underneath me. And then we can lift this up and that reveals another big storage locker just in the aft bench. Glass sliding patio doors enclose this area within from the elements outside, and that allows you, if you want to take all the canvas off out here, you then have a distinctive inside and a distinctive outside. That's very good, especially if you're doing water sports and fishing as well. When we go in, no one really encapsulates the feeling of natural light quite like Beneteau do. Huge windows, excellent all-round visibility. Up at the top we have an opening sunroof, then you've got a sliding window on both the left and the right hand side. Then if you want to have this open during the night time while you sleep, you can bring across the fly net. There is also subsequently the blind for the sun. Sustainability at sea is provided by a single gas burner. The bottle just lives outside. built-in handle to the worktop that lifts up, and then because we've got a calorifier on board, you have hot water and cold. Storage in the shelves behind here, 230 volt plug if you want to bring a kettle or a microwave. More storage underneath here, and then we have the battery isolators and the electric winch isolator as well. Underneath the floor on this side lives an additional berth. Access is just up round on the left hand side, we'll show you that later on. And then underneath there is the 100 litre freshwater tank. There is also on board a waste tank fitted to the vessel. So an upright backrest here towards the stern, and then up towards the bow, and this is typical of Beneteau. You have an adjustable backrest, so you can have this at whatever angle you'd like. The table will then extend should you want it to. I'll pull this one out here with my hands. You can fold that across. By having it split just like this, it means that manoeuvrability is slightly better in and around the cockpit area. We can drop that down. That turns us into a very nice double bed. It doesn't need to be used as a berth, it can just be used as a lounger. From there you then have great accessibility into storage areas at the back. We also, despite the fact we've got a berth underneath, not only here but underneath the floor here, we still have storage from Beneteau up against the bulkhead at the back. Pop that back there. Now we can then bring the seat here back the way, and that gives you a navigator. The functionality of that is superb. The versatility is great. It's super comfortable. Look at the width of the base of the cushion here. We can then again, remember, adjust this backrest accordingly. Molded, actually physically molded non-skid steps take us up into the seat here. We've got a grab rail to hold on to, and then Beneteau is firmly printed here to remind us just what we're sitting aboard. Cup holders on either side, and great access to your storage, and also another socket just underneath. So with that, it's so simple. We literally just move it back the way, and then with the click of a finger, it all goes back and into place. Let's move on to the helm position. So the bucket seat has a swivel rotation feature. It'll also slide slightly closer to the helm should you want to. Bolster feature, which will go up and down if you want to stand on the ledge to try and get a better view out if you're coming into a tight spot within the marina. We have our Mercury Smartcraft throttle as fly-by-wire, so it's very smooth in and out of the gear changes. You then have a start-stop button on the actual throttle. Your power trim is controlled by the up and down buttons here. There's also an analog or a manual start-stop here, just with the key that you can use to twist like you would typically on most boats. And then a bow thruster, which is an absolute lifesaver in marinas like this where the spaces are quite tight. The last thing you want, if you can see with the flags here, when the wind's blowing, you don't want to be blown onto your neighbour like this beautiful, still for sale, custom Beneteau Antares 9 Admiral Edition. So the main switches to look out for are your electric anchor winch control, which is just here. Then you have things like your twin wipers, wiper washer, power. That is your navigation lighting, water pressure, and then your bilge pump. Mercury Smartcraft gauges. That is your speedometer, tachometer just below there. Hybrid gauges in the sense that you have your analog gauge at the top, and that is paired with your LCD display down here, your digital gauge, and that will give you things like your temperature, your oil pressure, your depth, etc. We have left this blank because everyone prefers a different brand. You can have Raymarine, some people want Raymarine, some people want Garmin. We always recommend Simrad. We think it's the best that is physically available, or potentially available on the market at the minute. You can then link all your Simrad kit to the Mercury Smartcraft system, and that gives you a huge array of information available just at your fingertips. Everything is all about being touchscreen now. 12 volt socket just here, and then a cup holder for your beverage of choice. So the heads, we have an electric flush toilet. There's a waste tank fitted on board. Our gauges are just here as well. There are the controls for the loo. We have storage just behind that, more storage there, and then also the shower. You can pull out the tap faucet, use that as a shower should you want to, and remember, there is hot and cold water on the boat. Small window just for ventilation, then access in, as I said, if you want us to fit any navigational features to the dash there. Just to demonstrate the newness of the boat, we have kept the cellophane on all of the cushions and the upholstery. Owner's manuals just in there, and you can see shelves just along the back of each of the sides with a 12 volt socket just up at the back on the port side. An escape hatch and a dimmable light. put it back on again, that's it. Storage underneath the bed, more storage, and the bow thruster underneath there. We can put filler cushion in here, that turns us into a well-suited double. With it down as well, you still have access to the toilet because they've angled it off at a certain angle, so you can still get in, you don't need to remove the entire bed. It's very much purpose built for the owners to sleep offset at an angle. You sleep diagonally on the bed, that gives you more length, also more width. The material is a soft cloth, it's nice and soft to the touch, and the bedding doesn't end here. So by removing a purpose built panel and the footrest from the cockpit position, it reveals this full length berth that goes all the way down and up to the bulkhead in the lazarette. Now it's an additional option to have this, you can just have this as general storage, but why not put in an extra cushion in here, and then it does mean if you have an extra person on board, they can sleep in there, and once you're in, it's nice and it's snug. I have physically crawled in there and it's over 6 feet worth of length, so it's very, very capable of housing a big person. Some of the boat's electrics as well run up along where these vented panels are. Finish up on the bow. A great big sunbed area out in the front, superb for kids as well because the walkways are so wide, it does feel safe. And then if you decide to beach the boat or go for a dip, you have your reboarding ladder up in the front with the teak step, throw the ladder off just in front of the winch, and then you can jump down into the water and also reboard via the front rather than just typically above the stern. Electric anchor winch fitted on board as well for your ease. We'll take one look back. It's a very, very sexy looking boat, the Antares 8, especially once we have done our bit to it. I'm Ruben from Marine Sail Scotland, where fun in the water begins.